Israel is claiming to have air superiority and total freedom of movement in the airspace of Iran, despite the fact that we're having more and more evidence that the Iranian air defense systems are proving to be very effective in taking down Israeli drones and in Israeli fighter jets. Today we had a report that another F-35 was taken down. Iran said that they will be publishing more information and statements coming from the pilots that were taken as captives in Iran. And they also posted a video of them taking down an MQ-9 earlier on. Israel, of course, initially denies everything to do with interception in Iran to try and show that they do have freedom of movement, that they're not facing any challenges. As a matter of fact, in the initial hours of the Israeli attack, they already claimed that they took down the majority of the Iranian air defense systems. Yet today there has been a confirmation from Israel that they indeed lost a Hermes in Iran. The Israeli Air Force launches an attack, one Israeli report said, and Israel confirms that a Hermes drone was shot down in Iran. This is clearly proving that Israel is facing a lot of problems in Iran, and the problems are existing inside of Israel. It's Israel that's facing a lot of problems with its interception, especially with 3 recorded videos, some of which I posted during my live streams, of a huge failure coming from the Israeli air defense systems with missiles being launched and landing. 2 of them were being launched and landed inside of Tel Aviv in the central parts of Israel, and one of them was launched and landed in the Nevatim base 2 nights ago, randomly, without any missiles coming. Now, that's related directly to a strategy that Iran is getting. For example, this was one of the videos that was published yesterday. If we can see the video from the beginning here, an Israeli air defense system missile gets launched. That's in the central parts of Israel, the Tel Aviv area, and then it goes down on Israel. No missiles in the air. The missile goes down, causes a lot of damage. A huge fire broke out, as you can see from this video. Yet despite that, Israel is denying that they are facing any problems with their air defense systems. As a matter of fact, Israel got really upset after there was a report in the Wall Street Journal that was talking about Israel struggling when it comes to its air defense systems. The report said that Israel's stock of Arrow missiles is running low. Most Iranian ballistic missiles are intercepted by the Arrow, according to this Israeli report, which is flawed, of course, but they're confirming, or rather upset by the report in Wall Street Journal about the American source saying that the stock is running low. According to the source, the fear is that the US is also burning its stock, not just Israel. That could also be explaining why the United States hasn't been helping Israel intercept missiles like in previous situations. The only country that declared it was helping was Jordan. But then again, even in Jordan, the reports are it was the Israeli Air Force participating to take down these drones and projectiles coming from Iran. Missile Defense Project Manager said the US and Israel cannot intercept missiles all day long, and the IDF says that we are prepared for any scenario. As a matter of fact, the IDF got upset about this report, and they came up later on with a denial. They had this report in the Israeli Ma'arif saying that the IDF was denying, it was very quick to deny the rumors, noting that they were preparing for a much larger missile attack than the one that occurred. This is totally detached from reality, because the Israeli missiles, well, in many cases, the Iranian missiles are landing, by the way, without any interception. In other cases, we're seeing that Iranian missiles are landing despite the fact that Israel is launching many missiles to try and intercept them. As we can see in this video over here, many Israeli air defense missiles are being launched to try and intercept an Iranian missile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One of them, again, probably landing on Israel, 9, 10, 11 missiles, but probably about 12 missiles altogether, or 13 even now. Then we can see the Iranian missile landing, no problems whatsoever, and bang, in Israel. This is showing a huge failure. And again, in the past 3 days, there have been multiple videos. One of them was the one that I shared with you about the huge failure that's coming from the Israeli air defense systems, in a way that's proving that there's something going wrong for Israel. Either Iran is hacking these air defense systems, or Israel is facing internal problems, incompetency, or these air defense systems are not suitable, not fit for purpose. Or again, it could be Iran intercepting these missiles or hacking the actual systems. Now, Iran changed its strategy following the first day of retaliation. In the first day, Iran was launching missiles. They launched a barrage of approximately 70 missiles on the central parts of Israel. In the following days, we started to see Iran targeting Israel throughout the day. So attacks in the morning, attacks in the noon, attacks in the afternoon, and attacks in the evening. And that's a strategy that is being implemented now by Iran, because with each missile that they land, like the video that I just showed you earlier on, they are exhausting the Israeli air defense systems, with 12 to 20 missiles being launched to intercept one missile in some cases. And with that, Iran is totally depleting and totally drying the Israeli air defense capabilities at a very low cost for Iran. In Israel, there are already reports that each day of missile interception in Israel is costing Israel between 300 million to $500,000 US. So far, they said the cost is in billions trying to intercept and this whole military operation. Whereas from an Iranian perspective, what we know is that, well, one of their most expensive missiles is approximately $200,000 US. And again, Iran manufactures most of its missiles. So we're clearly talking about a very effective strategy coming from Iran. And despite the fact that Israel is claiming that it's intercepting, we can see clearly that it's not intercepting the majority of the missiles. As a matter of fact, many Israeli air defense missiles are landing inside of Israel. And this is coming despite the censorship attempts that are coming from Israel. So Iran has a very well-calculated strategy, and Iran is also preparing for a very long war with Israel, with the potential of the United States participating. And this is the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about. The United States, Donald Trump, despite the fact that the man was criticizing the previous president Obama for wanting a war with Iran, he was a vocal critic of the war in Iraq. As a matter of fact, part of his campaign in the presidency was for him to end all wars and not have this police role that the United States is making. That's why many people voted for him in hope that he would stop this intervention policy, especially for the sake of a foreign entity of terror called Israel. Now Benjamin Netanyahu is trying to drag him, and yesterday he made some statements or posts. Again, nowadays leaders, especially Trump, he goes to social media and starts to post things that can be completely contradictory in many cases. But he was saying that, we're not gonna kill the supreme leader for now, and that they might participate. He's saying we have control over the sky, as if he's speaking, in a joint manner with Israel all of a sudden, despite the fact that he told Benjamin Netanyahu before that he didn't give him a green light. But there's talk about the United States participating. How likely is the United States to participate? Is it all a show? Well, there are reasons to believe that it's all a show, because it goes against what the United States has been saying for a long time. There's a very strong argument against the United States' capability to do anything with Iran. The United States went to a war with Afghanistan, which was not even comparable with the capabilities that Iran has. They went out 2 decades later, and Taliban came back the next day. and they had deals with them and started to negotiate with them. In Iraq, after the invasion of Iraq, the United States couldn't even stop small armed groups from targeting strategic United States bases in Iraq. And after the United States supported a war in Yemen, an ongoing war in Yemen against Ansarullah and the people of Yemen, they failed to stop the attacks of Ansarullah against strategic locations and bases of the United States. This shows clearly that even when the United States is present with all its might and with global coalitions too, they are unable to reach their objectives. They haven't been able to reach their objectives, at least in Afghanistan. And in Iraq, they couldn't even take down small armed groups that caused them a lot of harm and posed a risk for them. Now, if they do participate now, it's not just going to be Iran. Of course, Iran has arranged to attack all of the United States bases in the region, but it's going to be the other movements too. Plus, you're talking about a situation where the people of the region are already prepared and they have nothing to lose if the United States decides to go and wage a genocidal war for the sake of Israel in the region. But that threat is there. From an Iranian perspective, they need to take it seriously and they need to plan accordingly. They need to plan accordingly when it comes to their missiles, how much they launch, at what points, and they need to prepare for a moment where they have to attack multiple locations at the same time. That is coming after more Iranian sources are now confirming that the Israeli attack that began in Iran, especially a man called Amir al-Musawi, who was an Iranian diplomat close to the Iranian leadership too, he said that the initial attack of Israel in Iran was intended to collapse the country. And he mentioned that Israel was looking to assassinate 400 Iranian leaders in the country, including the supreme leader. And the argument was that he said that multiple explosions occurred in certain locations where other leaders were supposed to be present. Now, Israel, of course, took down some of the military leaders and some scientists too in that attack. But according to him, the intention was to take down the whole country. Now, if that's the case, then we're talking about a huge failure from the beginning if the plan was bigger, despite the fact that Israel did not confirm this plan from the beginning. It took Benjamin Netanyahu several days to confirm, or to at least make it public, that his aims, or one of his objectives of the war is to take down the Iranian establishment. Benjamin Netanyahu initially stated that he wants to roll back on the Iranian threat. He wants Iran to have less sort of a threat to Israel, pose less of a threat to Israel by taking down some of its capabilities. None of that has happened. As a matter of fact, Iran is proving to be more clever and strategic the more the days go by, and exhausting Israel, keeping Israel on high alert. And it already attacked so many strategic locations in Israel, military bases, the Mossad headquarters, intelligence headquarters, strategic targets to energy sector targets to a level where they shut down the oil and gas production inside of Israel due to the Iranian attacks, especially in the Haifa oil refinery that's run by Bazan, that declared that now it's completely shut down. Meaning, well, Israel did not get what it wants, and it's going to be extremely difficult for them to get what they want. As a matter of fact, the more time goes by, time is playing on Iran's side, not on Israel's side. Israel does have a long arm. They do have operatives and cells, sleeper cells in countries like Iran and other countries too, that can carry out sabotage and terrorism and pose a threat, of course, to the country. Iran, from their perspective, they're taking down large numbers of these groups now, but Iran is a huge country, and the Iranian arsenal is very well kept, very deep under the ground. They have a very, very long-lasting capability to continue to produce and launch missiles on Israel and other targets too. Therefore, the campaign of Israel, despite the propaganda and despite the mainstream media showing you that, oh, Israel and Iran is almost on the brink of collapse, all of that is garbage propaganda at the end of the day. It's completely detached from reality. On the ground, it's Israel that's in a crisis mode. They're already reporting in Israel that some of the buildings that in some parts where even a single Iranian missile landed would take 5 years to rebuild. Some buildings were completely dismantled, military bases too. All of that is showing that Israel is getting severe blows coming from Iran, and any actions in Israel in Iran clearly are not stopping the Iranian attacks. Now, last night, the Israelis said, we expect Donald Trump to declare that he's coming and joining this campaign, and we expect that to happen within the next few hours. That still hasn't happened yet, despite many statements from Donald Trump. If that is going to be implemented on the ground, and if the United States will indeed start to participate, we're talking about a larger war that can get completely out of control, because Iran and other armed groups in the region will have more targets, and China and Russia will not be sitting back and looking at Iran totally, almost, getting hit more severely with the United States and other countries too, potentially, when they're not doing anything. But we're still far from that moment. We're still not there yet. If Donald Trump does decide to go and participate, well, he's facing challenges internally in the United States too, but it's going to prove to be very difficult for him. At the end of the day, Donald Trump had to reach an agreement with Ansarullah in Yemen, who have capabilities that are not even comparable to Iran. Donald Trump is the same man who started to negotiate directly with the Palestinian resistance in Gaza. That is the least equipped, by the way. How can he go and start this massive attack on Iran and expect to achieve any results when he hasn't even achieved results with the Palestinian resistance in Gaza and with Ansarullah in Yemen, and had to start making deals and start negotiating with them as well to try and de-escalate tensions and even remove himself from the front that's supporting Israel? Because with the Yemen deal, you're talking about a coalition that was formed from the United States to support Israel. And eventually, the United States had to leave that coalition and stop attacking Yemen for the sake of Israel, because of the severe blows it was getting from Yemen. And if they got that from Yemen, they will get much more from Iran.